Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video I'm going to tell you why the first, especially first 1 to 3 months if you're moving here to Cambodia is so important, and hopefully give you some tips on how to deal with that, what comes after that initial 1 to 3 month period. And hopefully it will help you out. And if you like the content, consider donating to the channel. Your support means everything to us. It's extremely important, and we always appreciate it. I have links down below for PayPal and Ko-fi.com if you want to consider doing that, and we do appreciate it. Or you could also purchase one of my books. I have several that are at the link in the description, including my debut horror novel called Pray for Salvation. And I got that one along with the other 5 books you see on your screen. And as I said, there's a link in the description for that. All right, so whether you're moving from one city to another in your state, in your home state, whether you're moving to a different state from the one you grew up in, it can be stressful, it can be difficult. There's a lot of things to take into consideration, a lot of coordination going on. Multiply that times 10 when you're moving halfway around the world. And, if you're planning on coming over here and staying for a long time or maybe permanently, there's just a whole nother level of stress and things that you need to consider. But once all that's done and you finally arrive here, people use the word culture shock, and I don't know why they call it culture shock. I mean, shock is such a negative word sometimes, but it can be a very good thing, especially if it's your first time. You're seeing things you never saw before. You're immersed in a culture you've never known about before, on that personal level. All kinds of food and just everything seems to be different than what you're used to. And that can be a very good thing. And I know people who have come over here, and especially during that first 30 to 90 days, and they're in that honeymoon phase where everything is new, everything is fresh, everything is exciting, and look at this and look at this and look at this, and that's fantastic. It should be that way, I think. But a lot of times people experience that kind of valley after they've been here for a while. And once they set their minds to the fact that, okay, this is going to be my life, maybe forever, maybe, or at least for a few years. And a lot of times there are things that they miss about home that they didn't think about maybe at first. And they have to weigh whether they still want to stay here, or maybe those things they miss are just too precious to them, and they want to go back home. And I want to say that if that happens to somebody, that's not nothing negative about them. People are free to change their minds. They're free to change their attitudes about anything. As a matter of fact, if you find yourself in a place where you miss your home so much after you get here and you've been here a few months, that it makes you sad or depressed, I would say just go back home. There's no shame in that. I know a lot of people might want to point fingers and call you names because you said you were going to do this and then you didn't, but no. There is absolutely no shame in changing your mind and having your feelings changed. I think at some point it happens to everybody where you get that little bit of homesickness. I mean, it's happened to me. It's happened to almost everybody I know here. Once all the excitement wears down and you realize, okay, this is it. This is where I'm going to spend the rest of my days above the ground, as they say. There are just certain things you will miss about home. But you just have to weigh for yourself whether those things you miss are more important than the reason you wanted to come here in the first place. Whether it was just for the low cost of living, there's nothing wrong with that if that's your main motivation. I know I get comments from people all the time saying, I can't wait to get to Cambodia because I'm sick of all the BS in my country. And they don't go into specifics about, what kind of BS, political, economical, social BS. But for whatever reason, they decided they want to move to another country. And a lot of times on my channel, of course, that would be Cambodia. And that's great. So, but when you get into that valley, after you've been here and you've experienced all the highs, and like I said, you had that romantic honeymoon period, just weigh what you're missing at home compared to why you left in the first place. And for me, there was nothing I missed back home that was more important to me than the reason why I wanted to come here in the beginning. That was always my priority. And so, at first I missed the plethora of fast food places. I did not eat healthy at all back home, I can tell you that. And I had a street right within walking distance from my apartment. And on that, it was actually a highway that ran through our little town. And there was, you can get Wendy's, McDonald's, Burger King, anything you wanted to. And and I missed that when I was here because they do have a Burger King and they do have a KFC, but some of the other places I missed. But of course, you find your favorites here, but that can take a process. I like to tell people eventually you'll find your way around. You'll find the things you like, the stores you like, the food you like, and all of that is true. And I know that's easy to say, but sometimes that process can be a little difficult for first-timers especially, or people who have moved over here and now are may be a little bit confused. Because it doesn't happen overnight, man. I spent like my first month here, every time I left the area where my apartment was, I was completely lost. Like I had no idea where I was. And I had Google Maps, and Google Maps would tell me where I was, but I had no idea how to get back to where I wanted to go. My apartment didn't have a name. It wasn't, it didn't have a road and a road name. And so, Google would say, hey, where do you want to go? And I was like, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't be lost. I spent my first month there just being lost and sometimes mentally overloaded with all that. But and that can be stressful. It can make you think, what am I doing here? Like back home, everything was familiar. I knew how to get from point A to point B. I didn't even have to think about it. And then you're getting lost walking 3 blocks away from where you live, But, you can ask anybody who's been here any sort of time, and pretty soon everything just clicks into place. Like, you'll find your new favorite restaurants. You'll find your new favorite little mom and pop shops. You'll find little shortcuts and things to get to different places if you want to walk instead of taking a tuk-tuk or a pass app. All those things come in time, and it does take time. And that's why those first 1 to 3 months are so important, because that's when sometimes it's easy to feel overwhelmed, a little mentally overloaded with everything you're experiencing and basically, trying to figure it out, I guess you can say. But it'll come. It'll happen, and I think you'll be better off for it. Because once you pass that hump, and once you get over your homesickness, and once you realize that, things are not the same here, but when I think about why I wanted to come over here, those reasons are much more important to me than just missing my favorite bar back home or my favorite friends or something like that. It just all kind of clicks into place, and then you can navigate all the other stuff way more easily. Especially, like I said, in that first month when you're going to come here, probably stay at a motel or a guest house, and then you have to find your first apartment. No matter where you move, whether it's across town from where you live or to another state in the same country you come from, even that can be stressful. trying to figure out where am I going to live. Back home in the United States, you need a deposit, first month's rent, last month's rent, plus the deposit. You have to go through a background check. You got to go through a credit check. And if you get turned down for any of those, well, you got to go try to find somewhere else. But trust me when I say, especially when it comes to apartments, that should be a priority when you get here, of course, finding your forever home. But it should be low on your list of things to stress about. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It is so easy to find an apartment here. You can come in completely cold. You can fly in here without even having booked a hotel or guest house, and you'll find a place to stay within an hour if you need to. It's just, there's so many available everywhere. So even though I know that, having a place to live is a priority, don't let it stress you out, is what I'm saying. And just remember, in the first 3 months when you're all happy to be here, remember that there is going to be a time perhaps when you're going to be homesick and you're going to be having second thoughts. So just weigh your reasons for coming over here with how are you feeling about back home. And hopefully one will outweigh the other, and then you can make your decision from there. Like I said, there's no shame if you don't like it. I've said this many times, Cambodia is not for everybody. And other vloggers have said that Cambodia is not for everybody. So yeah, get as much information as you can, of course, but just realize that when you get here, this is going to be all on you to, figure out for yourself. All right. Well, I hope that helped a little bit. Maybe give you some encouragement before you get here. Mentally prepare yourself for what you can expect. And be sure to check out all my links down below. Like I said, I have PayPal and Ko-fi.com. There are other channels down below that are vlogging from this part of the world. They are all excellent. You can get different opinions. You can get different topics. You can find out, and the more you know, the better off you'll be. So check out all those channels and give them some love. And don't forget to check out my other channel, Horror Reads, if you like horror books. And that's it from Siem Reap, Cambodia. I will talk to you guys in the next one.